Hello Math 8, this is lesson 3.5, the second half of Unit 3. It's dividing whole numbers and fractions. So in the past, we would have done some simpler math than what we'll do today. But here's an example, 15 divided by 5. And how this worked was you had some number of something and you divide it into 5 groups. So let's say we have 5 groups. And we're going to take the 15 things and we're going to put it in those 5 groups. So there I've put 5 in there, and you're just going to continue along until you get to 15 dots. So here I've got 3 in each group, so that means that 15 dots divided into 5 groups, 15 divided by 5 was 3. Now this is something that's simple to you now, but what happens when there's fractions involved? It's not so easy to be like, oh, there's 3/5 of a group, or 9/12 of a group, or anything like that. It's kind of hard to do it that way. So this model here doesn't work super well for dividing fractions. However, number lines work very well. So what if we have this question here, 3 divided by 1/3? In essence, what we're saying here is how many thirds are in 3? So if we count these out, maybe with some jumps here, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3 gets us to 1, 4/3, 5/3, 6/3, 7/3, 8/3, 9/3. 9 times we went up by 1/3, and we got to 3. So that means that 3 divided by 1/3 is those 9 times right there. We could check our answer as well by using multiplication and working backwards. So 9 times 1/3 would equal 3, right? Because 9 times 1. Let's check our work this way. 9 times 1/3. If you take your quotient and your divisor and multiply, it should give you your dividend. 9 times 1 is 9, divided by 3, which 9 divided by 3 is 3, which is our dividend. What if instead we wanted to go 3 divided by 2/3? Okay, so what we're going to do here is jump up by 2/3 until we get to 3. So we're going to go once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Oh, only halfway there. Notice that we're jumping up by 2, 2, 2, 2, and there's half. So that means that our answer would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's a half jump, right? So this would equal to 4 jumps and a half jump there. We could check our answer by taking this and multiplying by this, our quotient here times our divisor. That would equal 4.5 would be 4 times 2 plus 1 is 9/2. Times 2 over 3, which would equal to, well, 2 and 2 can cancel out, right? So we're 9 divided by 3 is 3, which is our dividend. So yes, we did do that properly. What about 3 divided by 4/3? Well, take that 4/3 and we're going to jump up by that same amount. We're going to go up 4/3 though, not same amount, different amount, and 4 more thirds. See how we're jumping up 4/3 each time? And then, oh, that would take us quite a bit further, right? Notice that there's 1/4 here and there's 3/4 here that were not counted. We went once, twice, and then there's a 1/4 of a jump here. So this would be equal to 2 and a 1/4. Let's check our answer. 2 1/4 times 4/3 equals 9 over 4 times 4 over 3. 9 over 4 times 4 over 3. 4's can cancel out, and we have 9 on top, 3 on bottom, which equals 3. So this is one way to pictorially show a number, a whole number divided by a fraction. And it would actually work pretty well We've done something like this with a number line before, even when it's just whole numbers. And if it was a fraction that you started with here instead of a whole number, you just have to go till you get to that fraction wherever it is along the number line. Now let's look at a word problem here. It says Benny has half a liter of milk. He wants to pour it equally into 3 glasses. So that sounds like he's dividing that half liter of milk into 3 glasses. So that means, and it says here, how much milk should he pour into each glass? Well, it sounds like he has half a liter of milk. He's wanting to divide that into 3 glasses. So divide by 3. 1/2 divided by 3. I'd like to use a number line to figure this out, but I don't really know right away where to start for how many boxes maybe to have here along my number line. So here's an idea that I learned. I'm going to leave the number of boxes, my numbers that I have here, if I multiply them, that's how many boxes will be spaced out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take 3 times 2 times 1, which equals 6. And so I'm going to break this up into sixths. So what I did was I just multiplied those two numbers, and I'm going to break it up into sixths here. So I have 0, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I'm not taking 1 and dividing it into 3 groups or dividing it into 6 or anything. It's 1/2 that I actually have, okay? So halfway between 1/2 is right here. Remember, 1/2 is the same thing as 3/6, right? So 3/6 divided by 3 is what I'm doing here. This was 3/6, remember? So if I'm splitting up this 1/2, which is 3/6, into 3 equal portions, notice here the 3 equal portions would be one portion from here to here, another one here to here, and another one here to here. Would be 3 equal portions. And how much is this going up by? Well, it's going up by 1/6 each time, right? 1/6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 would bring us to what is 1. So each time I'm going up by 6. So therefore, if I'm dividing this by 3, 3 divided by 3, all over 6, 3 divided by 3 is 1/6. So to answer the question, Benny will pour 1/6 of a liter in each of the 3 glasses. Why did I use, the question you might have is, why did I use 6 here? Why did I break this up into 6? Well, if I had broken up into smaller portions, I would have had to use some half boxes and that sort of thing. So what I often do is I take the denominator of the fraction and I multiply it by the other number here, and that's what I split up from 0 to 1 in my boxes. Doesn't always work. Sometimes you don't have enough space for that, but in this case it did. So here's an example, 5 divided by 3/5. So essentially, we're trying to figure out how many 3/5 are there in 5 wholes. How many 3/5 would we have in 5 whole things? So perhaps we could use something, some circles to figure this out. And I'm going to break those circles up into fifths. So I understand there's 2 5s in here. So let me explain. I drew 5 circles here because it's 5 that are going to be divided into groups of 3/5. And I chose to split these circles up into 5 pieces. Why? Because in my denominator, what's being split is the 5. So that's what that is there. And now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some groups of 3/5 into these circles and see how many there are within these 5 here. So I'm going to just number them. So there's 3 there is my first group. Let's use orange. There's 3 more is my second group of 3/5. 1, 2, 3/5 right there is my third group of 3/5. Those are my 3/5 there. That's my fourth group of 3/5. My fifth group of 3/5. My sixth group of 3/5. Seventh group. And my eighth group. And it looks like there's 1/5 left over there. So far we found out that there would be 8 whole groups, 8 3/5 groups here. So we know it's going to be 8, but then there's this fifth left over here. Now don't make the mistake of just putting a 1/5 here, because it's not actually. I'm going to draw a little diagram and explain why you wouldn't do that. If I have a circle here that's broken up into fifths, we want to figure out what 1/3 of 3/5 is. So if we've got these 3 pieces here, these 3/5, it's 1/3 of that would be 1/5 of the whole thing, right? And we learned that we had 1/5 left over. How much of a 3/5 is it? Well, it's 1/3 of that 3/5. So this would actually become 8 1/3 for our answer. Look at it this way. Every 3/5 that we counted in here, this went up 1, right? It went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And notice that this is 1/3 of each of those counts, right? It's 1/3 of each of those counts, so it has to be 1/3 here, not 1/5. Why? Because this isn't what we were counting up by. We were counting up by 3/5. Let's do some examples similar to questions you'll see on your assignment. So question 3 says, use each picture to find a quotient. Write the division equation each time. So here's a picture. We have 4 pieces here. They're broken up into halves, right? So it's divided by half. 4 divided by half would be how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's our equation. Question 6, it says use fraction circles, find each quotient. So what if you have this question? 6 divided by 1/6. So draw out fraction circles, 6 of them, and split them up into 1/6. There we go, 6 divided by 1/6. And then count how many pieces do we have in there. We have 6 there, 6 there, 6, a bunch of them. 6 times that is 36. So 6 divided by 1/6 is 36.